This is a spot, I think if there's one flat call in between me and the open raise, I'm going to shove. And we're going to attempt to squeeze. What's called squeeze. Obviously, with a raise and a re-raise, we're going to fold. But a squeeze play is basically if there's a pre-flop raise and a flat call, or maybe even two flat calls, you do a big overbet, basically shoving your stack in an attempt to steal. Because often the first player in isn't necessarily going to be that weak, and the player that flats is also going to be weak simply because they would have re-raised if they were really that strong, the open raise. So, king 7 off, I'm going to be shoving if it's folded to me, just against the big blind. Obviously, 12,300 chips in the pot. That would greatly increase our stack by about 20%. With an open, I'll just fold. And ace queen, pretty much going to be getting it in almost regardless of the action. If there was a raise and a shove, I might fold here. But yeah, we're just going to shove. We do have a little bit of fold equity. There's a chance he might fold. But he's going to be getting pretty nice price here. He's going to have to call, what, 40 into 80. He's getting about 2 to 1 here, so I imagine he's going to call. But it's conceivable he could fold if he's raising with some sort of a weak ace or a suited connector. Alright, we haven't dominated. No chop. I had a feeling that was going to happen. As soon as the board comes paired like that, your opponent gets a lot of chop outs. So that was kind of unfortunate. We really should have doubled through there. In which case we would have been had a pretty decent stack with over 100,000. Unfortunately, we had to chop it. So we're still waiting. So we are now 23 players. We're obviously pretty short. We're one double up away from being the average stack, and hopefully that will come soon. I think it's important to. I talk about fold equity quite a bit, and fold equity is just. It's basically you take the chance you have of winning versus your opponent, and you add the fold equity onto it to give you your total amount. Kind of hard to describe, but basically, say you have, ace 10, and your opponent has ace jack. Well, if you just look at the odds, you're going to be at what, 2.5 to 1 dog because your hand is dominated. But if you have a deep stack and you shove it in pre-flop and he has to call, 3 times his bet, and say because of your stack size, he's going to be folding, 50% of the time, then you take your pot odds, which is 2 to 1 dog, or I guess not your pot odds, but your odds of winning the hand, and you add it to your fold equity, which is a chance you can get your opponent to fold, and that's your actual number of basically your odds. So here I just shoved everything with aces, obviously. Again, less than 10 big bets. It would look too suspicious if I opened smaller. And we got a shorter stack all in. And we have him hugely crushed. And that is really sour. I think we're 92% there. Ugh. Ugh, that kind of hurt. I am usually pretty good with beats, but unfortunately, when you're this deep in a tournament and that happens, it kind of sucks. Anyway, I'm just going to check here. He's not folding if I shove, so I'd rather see a flop. And if I flop anything, I'll be getting it all in. Flop the flush draw, probably overcards. And he has 8 high. So our 10 high will win. So we did double up there. We're on break now. We are super short. Obviously, we're going to be shortest in the tournament. It's really unfortunate. If we had have been successful with those aces or with that ace queen against the ace jack, we probably would have been at about 200,000 in chips right now and looking pretty good for the final table. Unfortunately, that's poker, and we haven't been able to have our big hands hold up. So we are pretty short with 22 players left. We're obviously right at the bottom. I'll just bring up this player stats. There's two players with over 200,000, a bunch in the mid 100,000s, and we are way down here. But you're never out. Chipping a chair. Let's keep rocking. All right, we're back from break. We have very few chips left, but hopefully we can get something going the next couple of hands. We're gonna need some pretty lucky situations in order for us to get back into this thing, but we've been pretty unlucky so far, so hopefully the poker gods will shine on us. I'm just trying to figure out here 23,000, 6, 12, 18. I'm gonna fold here. I just don't think my stack is big enough. He's gonna be calling with any two there, and a 4-9 suited is just not quite enough. I would shove there. There's so many hands I would shove there. I just don't think 4-9. And you might disagree with me there because obviously I was in the small blind with 3,000 of my 22,000 committed. But I feel like because we're in this small, we basically can wait for 4 or 5 more hands where hopefully we'll pick up something a little bit better than 9-4 to be able to double through. And here we have a classic race. Ace King wins that one. Alright, King Queen, this is a good spot because the big blind is going to call us with almost any two, so we're probably going to be in a spot where we're going to be a 60-65% favorite most of the time. Alright, so that's a good spot for us. Unfortunately, we only have 6 outs and we don't hit, so we are out. So we finished in 21st place out of 1,334 players. Overall, a good result. I felt like we played strong. We got in some good situations. Unfortunately, we were kind of in that really shitty area of a tournament, which is basically between 15th and 25th is just the worst spot because you don't get paid any more than getting, or I shouldn't say you don't get paid any more, but you don't get paid that much more than getting 80th or 90th or 100th. The prizes don't really start getting big into the final table, as I was talking about before. So it's kind of unfortunate, but overall, I feel like we got our money in good a lot of the time, and overall, made for a pretty good poker video. As always, if you have any questions or comments about this video or any other ones, just post them in the forum. This has been Howie for epokervideo.com. Take care. Peace.